Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. West Asia tensions escalate as Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps to carry out retaliatory strikes on a US military base. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets with Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha in Cyprus, discusses Ukraine conflict, bilateral cooperation. In shooting, India's Esha Singh wins Munich World Cup with record-breaking performance, clinches gold in women's 25 meters pistol event. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has said that it has struck an American airbase in response to the early morning attack by US forces on a site near the airport in Iran's Bandar Abbas. In a statement, the IRGC announced that an airbase, which it identified as the origin of the US aggression but did not say where it was located, was attacked. The IRGC also said that any aggression will not go unanswered, adding that further military actions will face a more decisive response. The announcement followed the US military reportedly having struck an area on the outskirts of Bandar Abbas. The back and forth challenges the fragile ceasefire between the US and Iran 4 days after US President Donald Trump claimed a deal extending the truce by 60 days was nearly complete. The US military has carried out new strikes overnight in Iran and shot down 4 Iranian drones and struck a control center in the southern city of Bandar Abbas, describing the actions as purely defensive. The new strikes come just days after the US military attacked several missile sites and also mine-laying boats in the same area. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump dismissed a report that Iran and Oman would manage shipping through the Strait of Hormuz as part of a deal to end the war.
International waters, nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine. In addition to that, you have a lot of boats. You have about 1,500 boats in the strait wanting to get out, and at the right time, we'll release them.
The Trump administration placed additional sanctions on Iran, targeting the country's newly created Persian Gulf Strait Authority and any person or entity cooperating with the agency. The move is the latest US effort to use economic leverage on top of military action to push Iran's leadership into an agreement to end the war and open the waterway. All right, moving to another factor in the West Asia war, the Israeli military struck an apartment building in Gaza City on Wednesday to target 2 central Hamas terrorists in the northern Gaza Strip. Israel killed the new head of Hamas's armed wing in Gaza, Mohammed Odeh, after killing his predecessor earlier this month, despite an ongoing ceasefire. In a joint statement, the Israeli military and the Shin Bet Domestic Security Agency said Odeh died on Tuesday, saying that he had been appointed head of the brigades after the May 15th killing of Izzuddin al-Haddad. The Israeli military also issued evacuation orders for large parts of southern Lebanon, declaring the areas combat zones ahead of fresh strikes against Hezbollah. The Israel Defense Forces urged residents to move north of the Zahrani River, some 25 miles from Israel's border. The IDF said it would act with extreme force, accusing Hezbollah of repeated ceasefire violations. It is the largest evacuation order since the ceasefire took effect on 17th of April. Let's get 2 updates from Europe. Russia has warned Armenia that it would suspend or terminate the supply of cheap oil, gas and rough diamonds if Yerevan pressed ahead with its bid to join the European Union. Moscow issued the warning ahead of a parliamentary escalation on June 7th, with opinion polls giving the civil contract party of Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan a comfortable lead over pro-Russian rivals. However, the Armenian ministry told state media it had received no such letter. Pashinyan had strengthened ties with the West, angering Moscow. He told an election rally that Armenia did not plan to leave the Eurasian Union and that membership of the body was compatible with its EU aspirations. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio visited Yerevan on Tuesday and signed a strategic partnership agreement in a sign of warming ties, and Armenia last year adopted a law launching its EU accession process. U.S. President Donald Trump said in a social media post on Wednesday that Pashinyan had his complete and total support in the June 7th elections, calling him a great friend and a leader. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Kazakhstan on Wednesday on a two-day visit that will include a state visit and taking part in a summit meeting of the leaders of the Eurasian Economic Union due on Friday. Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev met Putin on its arrival in Astana on Wednesday. The Eurasian Economic Union is a Russia-led free trade grouping that also includes Kazakhstan, Belarus, Armenia and Kyrgyzstan, but Russia is by far the largest economy in the union. The Russian leader will preside over the signing of a deal outlining parameters for the construction of a nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan during his visit. Once again, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has written to U.S. President Donald Trump and Congress addressing the critical lack of air defense missiles in Ukraine. In a letter, Zelensky said Ukraine relies almost exclusively on the U.S.-made Patriot systems to intercept Russian ballistic missiles, calling them the most effective defense against such attacks. He urged Washington to remain engaged and help secure additional Patriot PAC-3 interceptor missiles and Patriot systems to protect Ukrainian cities from Russian strikes. Speaking in his nightly video address, Zelensky said global attention had shifted to other conflicts, including the war in Iran, but warned that the conflict in Europe remained very bloody and must also be brought to an end. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar met with the Ukrainian Foreign Minister as he arrived in Cyprus to participate in the informal meeting of the EU Foreign Affairs Ministers. In a social media post, Dr. Jaishankar said that his meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart, Andrei Sabeha, was useful. They exchanged views on the Ukraine conflict and also discussed bilateral cooperation. Earlier, Jaishankar arrived at the venue in Lemazos at the invitation of Vice President of the European Commission, Kaja Kallas. The meeting will be conducted in the gymnic format, which takes place once every 6 months and provides the opportunity for more open discussion and reflection on key issues, including the current and regional ones. Ahead of attending the meeting, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar met EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas. The two leaders discussed India-EU cooperation and the situation in West Asia. Jaishankar also held a good meeting with his Saudi counterpart, Faisal bin Farhan, and appreciated his assessment and insight on the evolving situation in West Asia. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Wednesday that Norway had agreed to join its nuclear umbrella, becoming the latest country to receive France's nuclear protection amid European concerns over U.S. commitment to security in the region. In March, France offered to extend the protection of its nuclear umbrella to other European countries. Thousands of Bolivian women marched in La Paz on Mother's Day to protest against the government of President Rodrigo Paz and demanded his resignation, as nationwide protests have rocked the country for weeks. Demonstrators urged the government to reverse austerity policies and tackle soaring living costs. The ongoing protests have disrupted supply chains in cities such as El Alto, leading to shortages of food, fuel and medicines that are affecting hospitals, markets and petrol stations. Paz called for dialogue to resolve the crisis and prevent further economic damage, estimated at $600 million, while defending spending cuts and fuel subsidy reforms as essential for economic recovery. In El Salvador, relatives of detainees and human rights activists marched to the Supreme Court on Wednesday to challenge the state of emergency that has remained in effect since March 2022. Members of a group representing victims of the measure carried out photos of detained individuals and demanded the release of those they believe are innocent. Salvadoran media reported that this was the group's fourth legal challenge, though previous attempts were unsuccessful. Meanwhile, the ruling New Ideas Party extended the measure for the 51st time. Authorities credit it with reducing homicides and enabling thousands of gang arrests, while rights organizations warn of due process violations and unfair mass trials. Australia launched a multi-billion-dollar legal action against U.S. consumer goods giant 3M over contamination linked to toxic forever chemicals at military bases. The Australian government said it had filed a $1.43 billion case in the federal court, alleging that 3M failed to disclose environmental risks linked to firefighting foam containing PFAS chemicals. Authorities said the contamination affected military bases, and the Defence Force had already removed 200,000 tons of PFAS contaminated soil due to risks posed to nearby communities. Uganda's government announced on Wednesday that it has immediately closed its border with the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo for 4 weeks to help contain the spread of Ebola. Senior health officials said only Ebola response workers, humanitarian and security teams, and cargo transport would be allowed to cross. Anyone permitted to enter Uganda from Congo must complete a mandatory 21-day self-isolation period. Uganda has confirmed 7 Ebola infections and 1 death linked to the outbreak centered in Congo's Ituri province. The World Health Organization reports hundreds of deaths and suspected cases from the rare Bundibugyo strain, prompting international concern. India has sent emergency pharmaceutical supplies to support efforts to contain the Ebola outbreak in Congo. In a social media post, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said on Wednesday that the consignment was received in Uganda by its Eastern Africa Regional Coordinating Center. The supplies include essential diagnostics, therapeutics, infection prevention and control materials, and case management support, which will be deployed to affected communities in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, it said. Africa CDC praised India for its continued commitment to improving health security across Africa. India has strengthened healthcare cooperation with African nations in recent years, especially during emergencies like the COVID-19 pandemic and the current Ebola crisis. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, UN warns that temperatures are likely to remain at record levels in 2026 to 2030. Meta unveils paid subscription plans for Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp. Two-time Paralympic gold medalist Sumit Until adds another glorious chapter in the history of para-javelin throw competitions.
India is home to some of the most venomous snakes in the world. 50,000 Indians almost die every year because of snake bites. And in that moment, knowing what to do can really help save a life.
Students know, they know climate change, they know global warming, they know plastics, they know microplastics. But they really know what it means on a daily basis. So the connect with the environment is missing. The connect to real life every day is missing.
A eucalypt in a new environment, you're very likely to change what we call fire regimes. So fire regimes are the patterns of fire across the landscape and through time.
We add the already colonized mycelium into this sort of jute bags, and we take it to the forest for the process of which is called mycoremediation, where we are introducing more mycelium in a certain ecosystem for basically helping the ecosystem to thrive more and also for the mycelium to grow in the same process.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Live. Global average temperatures are likely to continue at or near record levels this year and for the next 4 years afterwards. The United Nations warned on Thursday that the 11 hottest individual years ever recorded all happened from 2015 onwards, and the UN's Weather and Climate Agency said the trend was set to continue with a new hottest ever year likely before 2031. According to the WMO's Global Annual to Decadal update, there is an El Nino predicted for the end of 2026, which increases the chances of the following year, 2027, being the next record-breaking year. The last El Nino contributed to making 2023 the second hottest year on record and 2024 the all-time high at around 1.55 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average. Europe is sweltering under an unprecedented early heat wave, with temperatures breaking records across Britain, France and beyond. The UN climate chief has warned that the extreme weather is a brutal reminder of the spiraling impacts of climate crisis. Britain and France have reported their hottest ever May days this week as a heat dome pushed temperatures more typical of midsummer. In Paris, residents flocked to the Saint Martin Canal to cool off despite a swimming ban, with police presence minimal and only occasional reminders to stay safe, allowing people to enjoy the rare relief. Ireland is also experiencing record-breaking May heat, with temperatures climbing above 30 degrees Celsius. Experts caution that these unseasonal heat waves underline the growing impact of climate change, raising concerns about what increasingly extreme temperatures could mean for the future. In Santarém, Portugal, locals sought refuge in rivers and shaded areas as temperatures soared to levels few remember. The hot, dry conditions have sharply increased the risk of rural fires and prompted many municipalities in southern Portugal to issue maximum wildfire warnings. And back home, the Indian Met Department predicted continued heat wave conditions across several parts of the country, along with thunderstorms, dust storms and heavy rainfall warnings in different regions. Heat wave conditions accompanied by thunderstorms and lightning are likely over Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Delhi and Uttar Pradesh, while a red alert for heavy rainfall has been issued for these regions for tomorrow, according to the Weather Department. Severe heat wave conditions were also forecast over Madhya Pradesh, while dust storms were expected in parts of Rajasthan. Meanwhile, heavy rainfall is likely across several parts of northeast India during the week ahead. Indian native Abdul Rahim, who spent 20 years in a Saudi prison, has finally returned to Kerala. Rahim had moved to Riyadh in 2006, but was arrested weeks later after a tragic accident in which a medical feeding device became dislodged while he was accompanying his sponsor's paralyzed 15-year-old son, leading to the boy's death. Rahim was later sentenced to death by a Saudi court. Rahim's release became possible after friends, family and NGOs worldwide raised 15 million Saudi riyals as diyat, or financial compensation under Islamic law. This humanitarian effort secured a pardon and paved the way for his return. After landing, an emotional Rahim thanked everyone for the strong support. The Indian Naval Academy, Ezimala, is hosting the passing out parade of the spring term 2026 on Thursday. The ceremony is graced by Vice Admiral Samir Saxena, Flag Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Southern Naval Command, as the chief guest. The passing out parade for spring term 2026 features participation of trainees from the Indian Navy and Coast Guard, alongside international trainees from 3 friendly foreign countries, that is Seychelles, Tanzania and Vietnam, underscoring India's enduring commitment to strengthening international maritime partnership. The parade features a award of medals and trophies to outstanding performers, followed by time-honored tradition of the symbolic shipping of stripes commissioned officer rank, marking the transition from being a trainee to a military officer. President Draupadi Murmu conferred the prestigious President's Police Colour to the Sikkim Police on Thursday at the Paljor Stadium in Gangtok. Sikkim has become the 15th state of the country and 3rd from the northeast to receive this award. Around 400 proud Sikkim police personnel participated in the Alankaran parade. The President's Police Colour is the highest ceremonial honour awarded to a police force in the country in recognition of the exceptional service, unwavering discipline and dedication to the nation. Addressing the event, President Murmu urged the police force to be more citizen-centric. She also emphasized on the need for police to be more sensitive while dealing with people, particularly women, poor and children. On his 143rd birth anniversary, India honours Veer Savarkar, a fierce revolutionary, iconic freedom fighter and visionary social reformer. His uncompromising struggle for political independence and bold crusade against the caste system continue to inspire millions.
On May 28th, India remembers one of its most fiery revolutionaries, thinkers and social reformers, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, fondly known as Veer Savarkar, on his birth anniversary. Born on May 28, 1883 in the village of Bhagur near Nashik, Maharashtra, into a Chitpavan Brahmin family, Savarkar displayed sparks of patriotism from a young age. He founded the secret revolutionary society Abhinav Bharat, studied law in London, and became a vocal supporter of India's independence. His seminal book, The Indian War of Independence 1857, reframed the 1857 revolt as the first unified war against British rule, inspiring generations of freedom fighters. Arrested in 1910, Savarkar was sentenced to 2 life terms, 50 years, in the dreaded cellular jail in the Andamans known as Kalapani. He endured brutal torture, forced labor, and solitary confinement, yet his spirit remained unbroken. After his conditional release, Savarkar led the Hindu Mahasabha and emerged as a powerful voice for social reform. He fiercely advocated the complete abolition of the caste system and untouchability. His 7-point vision for social transformation included making Vedic literature accessible to all, not just one caste, calling it civilizational knowledge and India's unique gift to humanity, breaking caste-based vocational rigidity, encouraging people to pursue professions based on aptitude and ability rather than birth. A prolific writer, poet, and orator, Savarkar championed courage, unity, and unyielding love for the motherland. He passed away on February 26, 1966 at the age of 83 after a self-chosen fast unto death, Atma Arpan. On this day, his message of fearless patriotism, social equality, and national rejuvenation continues to inspire millions. Veer Savarkar's life remains a shining example that true freedom demands both political independence and social transformation. Antara Sinha for DD India.
In Sri Lanka, the Muslim community is celebrating Eid ul-Adha today with deep religious fervour. Devotees gathered at mosques and grounds early in the morning to offer Eid prayers in a spirit of piety and communal harmony. After completing the Eid prayers, everyone exchanged Eid greetings through customary hugs and wishes. Updates from the world of business now. Meta launched paid subscription plans for its flagship apps on Wednesday, marking a major push by the tech giant to diversify beyond its long-time reliance on advertising revenue. The move comes as Meta faces investor scrutiny over its massive AI spending. As per the reports, Instagram Plus and Facebook Plus will be priced at $3.99 per month, while WhatsApp Plus will cost $2.99 each month. Talking of sports, India opened its medal account at the ISSF World Cup in Munich with a golden performance by Esha Singh. The Olympian clinched gold in the women's 25 meters pistol event with a world record and junior world record score of 43. Esha delivered a dominant display in the final, finishing 5 shots ahead of Germany's Doreen Vennekamp, who settled for a silver. The victory marks India's first medal at the Munich ISSF World Cup after 2 days of competition. Two-time Paralympic gold medalist Sumit Antil added another glorious chapter in the history of para-javelin throw competitions with a breathing throw to improve on his own world record for the men's javelin F64 category at the 8th Indian Open International Para-Athletics Championships 2026 in Bengaluru on Wednesday. The Indian star bettered his previous mark of 73.29 meters set in 2023, underlining his dominance in the event. Talking of tennis, third seed Novak Djokovic continued his pursuit of a record-extending 25th Grand Slam title at Roland Garros, advancing to the third round with a hard-fought 6-3, 6-2, 6-7, 7-9, 6-3 victory over France's Valentin Royer on Count Philippe Chater on Wednesday. The win also saw Djokovic reach the third round at Roland Garros for a remarkable 21st consecutive time, equaling Roger Federer's open-era record for most consecutive third-round appearances at a single Grand Slam. Wednesday evening also saw 19-year-old Joao Fonseca rallying past 20-year-old Dino Prismic 3-6, 4-6, 6-3, 6-1, 6-2 to reach the third round and set a blockbuster clash against 24 times major champion Djokovic scheduled on Friday. At the 66th Fruit Show in Tamil Nadu's Kunnur, organizers have transformed 4.5 tons of fruits into an imaginative display, bringing dinosaurs and other creatures to life. The exhibition, part of the annual summer festival, combines vibrant colors, creative artistry and natural produce to create a spectacular display. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.